Abby and Kim show.
Real people, real talk. From conversations to wisdom. No, from challenges to wisdom. Conversations that heal, inspire, and empower.
How did that happen today?
I don't know. See, this is why my
Look back so I can see us. I think that's part of it. But how was your week? Maybe we'll start out there, and then maybe we could get our tongues untied.
My week was busy. It's getting better and better, though. I'm glad the summer is here. I'm gonna be getting my grandbabies.
Yes.
We're gonna travel to see my other grandbabies.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
summer in
yes.
Texas, summer in California, and so we
Yeah.
have to do our annual get together
Yes. Yes.
and road trip.
Cool.
How about you?
Well, I've been real excited planning my wedding. Yes, our wedding.
June 27th.
June
And you got
27th.
your...
I know.
not
I
yet.
didn't get it
Okay,
yet. I had to
it's
get
getting
it
resized.
sized, but it's being resized. I didn't get my ring yet. And so that's what I've been busy with. Excited, getting those plans together. And
you Mr.
yeah,
Wonderful.
taking care of him. And it has just been awesome. And getting pictures of my great grandbabies, because I got two now.
Yes.
A boy and a girl, great
Within
grandbabies.
6 months of each other. Huh?
Yes, within 6 months. So I said, I haven't had my fix. So they sent me like 13 pictures.
That ought to
So,
take care of it for a
yeah,
little bit. Till July.
Yeah, till July. Yeah. But, and Kim is telling me that I should say and instead of but, you know, that's a work in
Only
progress.
if we want to negate what we just said, we say but.
Yes.
If we want to piggyback on what we
Yeah.
said, do we say and?
But, and we are extremely excited today.
Honored. And you are in for
honored.
a blessing. That's what it
For a
is.
treat. And maybe,
Blessing.
and just maybe, you may pick up some nuggets today
I
that
hope
you
so.
did not know about.
I hope so.
And we will also have all her information in the description. But and let me introduce to you Dr.
JeNeen.
Dr. JeNeen. Affectionately known as Dr. JeNeen, and she is in Atlanta. Daggone it, she should be here in Arizona, but she's in Atlanta. That's okay. She is actually a native of Buffalo, and she moved to Atlanta to pursue her career as a chiropractic
She's a
naturopathic doctor.
Which
That's just the tip of it.
Yeah, that's just the foundation. She's an amazing doctor. Okay, I'll let you.
Go ahead and finish. Go ahead. I don't have a problem with that. Go ahead.
She's an amazing doctor. I have had the honor and privilege of sitting under her teaching in the ways that she serves her clients, her patients. And I don't want to take up any more of that time. I want to introduce you to Dr. JeNeen Ridgeway, and we'll have questions. So
yes,
yeah,
definitely
so
questions.
You'll get to know her.
But
Thank you for joining
welcome,
us.
beautiful lady. Welcome.
Well, thank you so much. You two are beautiful as well, and I'm so honored to be here with you today. And let's get into it.
Yes, let's get into it. So
Go ahead.
Do you have it right there?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, first question is?
A first question. Oh.
Okay.
Well, maybe I don't have it.
Okay. So the first, my first question is, what attracted you to the medical field, like chiropractic? Was chiropractic your first?
Oh, wow. Now, this is a story. It just depends on how much time you have. I went a wavy road, but I always knew that I wanted to be a doctor. I knew that I wanted to be in the healing arts. I just didn't know how expansive they were. So as a little girl, I wanted to be a doctor, and I ended up going and working in a hospital over the summer through a youth program. And I was just pushing people to their appointments. I'd pick them up in the wheelchair and take them to X-ray or urology or whatever.
Yeah.
And while I was there, I said, "Oh my god, this place, the energy," even as a young child, I did not like the energy, and I did not
Wow.
wanna be in a
Mm.
hospital. I didn't even wanna train there, and so I said, "I can't be a doctor. I gotta figure something else out." And so I was
Uh,
really, really good in school, really good in math and science, and so I got tracked into engineering. I was told, "Oh,
Oh,
just go to school for engineering. They need black engineers, you'll be great, blah, blah, blah." Okay, fine. So I moved from Buffalo, New York to Atlanta. I go to Spelman. I was actually in a dual degree program with Spelman and Georgia Tech, and it was
wow.
industrial engineering and mathematics. And
Wow.
about two-thirds of the way through, I recognized that I hated it. I hated everything about it. There was absolutely nothing regarding engineering that I was interested in. And so I dropped the engineering, finished with a mathematics degree. So most people don't know that I have a bachelor's of science in mathematics. And then it was like, okay, well, now what
Wow.
am I going to do?
what am I
Um,
gonna do? Yeah.
yeah. And so I'm sitting there trying to figure it out. And I got into fitness. I started personal training just, in the interim. And then God stepped in for the first time. And I got a letter and a 3-hour VHS tape. That kind of ages me a little bit.
That's
But I got a
That's
3-hour
quite all right.
VHS
you're
tape.
younger than us.
And it was from a chiropractic school in Dallas, well, not in well, it was in Plano, Texas.
Okay.
Um, no, I'm sorry. It wasn't in Plano, but I ended up moving to Plano. Anyway, it was in Texas, and I didn't know anything about chiropractic. I didn't even know it existed at that point in time. And it was all about natural healing and how the body heals itself and how we were designed to heal and we've got this energy inside of us. And I said, "Oh my God, that's it."
Lit you up.
Yes, yes, exactly. Woke everything up that was in there. And so I'm like, "Okay, that's it. I'm gonna be a chiropractor." So I packed up, and because I had gotten a math degree, I had to go and do a lot of prerequisites and everything to get back into a medical track. But I ended up going to chiropractic school. So that's how that part of the story went.
Wow. And then how did you get into naturopath from chiropractic?
So I went to chiropractic school, and I discovered while I was in school that at the time chiropractors basically had to build their own businesses. They weren't part of, insurance at the time. There was a
Mhm.
lot of negativity, and I was super, super shy. So it was really hard for me to get out of school because I had to invite people in, to be able to adjust them and get my hours and everything. And then once I got out, I knew that there was no way I'm gonna go build this thing on my own because I have no idea how to do that. So I started
Mm.
working with other doctors, and it just so happened that I got into practice with doctors who were very holistic. They had a very holistic
Oh,
technique, and they were
awesome.
doing a lot with homeopathy and with bioenergetic testing and with nutrition. And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, this is amazing." And so I ended up, being an associate with a couple different doctors, but 2 of the ones that I worked with had a completely nutrition-based practice. And so I got
Mm.
into nutrition response testing, clinical nutrition, and then whenever I'd say I was a chiropractor, the response was always, "Oh, I've got this neck pain, I've got this back pain," and I'm like, "I do so much more than that." So I actually went back to naturopathic school just to get the distinction, just to get the letters that would better
Mhm.
explain what I did, because I was already doing it. I already knew the information. I had already apprenticed for years and years, but I just needed that to be able to actually explain what I do. Because when you say
Mm.
you're a naturopathic doctor or a holistic doctor, it has a whole different connotation than if you say you're a chiropractor. And that's
Right.
kinda still to
Exactly.
this day to
It
some extent.
It
is.
is, it is, it's so and,
Yeah,
and believe it or not, there are still people this day that say, "Oh, no, I don't do chiropractors. I don't
I
I don't
know.
I don't do them." I'm like, "Kidding me?"
Because there's some, we won't name any names,
Yeah.
there's some that don't, do it justice,
Yes.
sadly,
Right,
but I
right.
know that you
As
are
there is with every
exceptional.
profession, and
With
it's
Yeah, every profession, that's true.
every
yeah,
Mhm.
profession. But isn't it is extremely fortunate, I will say this, that you found your love. You didn't just go into engineering and stay in there just because that's what they said was your track.
right, right.
Sometimes we get stuck in that and we never found out what it is that we truly, truly want to do. And it's so awesome that you were able to follow your heart and offer your brilliance to individuals in such a great way. So now you said you 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 partnered with a lot of doctors in order to get your first clientele? How were those experiences?
Woo! Wow, that's a loaded question. It wasn't the best experience. I went in knowing that I was gonna have to pay some dues, and I paid
Mhm.
them. Boy, did I pay them. But what I got out of it was that there was so much knowledge to be had. I knew that I wasn't gonna make a lot of money, but I looked at it as this is the trade-off for me getting the training versus going and paying for a $30,000 training program.
True,
Yeah.
So
true.
I did that, and,
Yeah.
and I was able to grow immensely in that way, but it was tough. Those years were tough because, I worked with a doctor for 3.5 years, and the first year and a half of working there, I never had a day off because she didn't wanna cover me.
Wow.
Yeah, I became the primary doctor.
Wow.
She sat at
Oh.
home
Wow.
and micromanaged the clinic and didn't wanna cover me, so even though I had earned vacation, I never got any time off. So it was
Wow.
tough, it was tough, and I
Yeah.
sat down at that time and I wrote down all of the things that were going on and how hard it was and how, I did not want that for my life, and then I wrote the opposite of it, so what do I want? And I wrote all the things that I want, and
Good
right
for
now I can say
you.
Oh,
I'm
awesome.
doing it
That
the
is
way
so
I always
great.
wanted to do it, and it's amazing. It's amazing when you find what you're passionate about and you just go after it, and, like, I feel like I never work a day in my life, and, I've got colleagues that have these big clinics and all of this staff and, multiple doctors that they employ, and I knew from the beginning that I didn't want that because I wanted a
Mhm.
balance. I wanted a more simplistic model that gave me, a balance of money and time freedom, and so
Mhm.
that's what I do, and it's
That
just
is
been
beautiful.
wonderful. Yeah, it's been wonderful.
That
Uh,
is a beautiful story.
And
I
and I
mean, to
hate to
go
I
from
there's one
yes.
thing I don't even wanna bring it up really, but some of the, employment, it was kind of oppressive, mentally because
yes.
they were, they use this management technique that's very oppressive, and so I learned early on to be strong and to get my personal development and keep my mindset right, and that was really part of what got me through and allowed me to take the good and leave the bad behind.
Yeah.
That's important. Thank you for bringing that up
Yeah.
because, yeah, every success has the struggle time, the struggle period.
Yes.
And, to not include that, people will think they
You know,
just make different.
people
Yeah.
people often don't realize that what you see online with a lot of people is their highlight reel. You
Exactly.
Exactly.
see
That's what you
where they
see.
are right now, and you think that, "Oh, it just came easy to them."
Mm,
Let me be the one
Nothing.
to tell
Yeah.
you, I paid my
yeah.
dues. And even when I started working for myself, I was working a second job for years. While I
Wow.
was working for those other doctors, I was working a second job.
Wow.
When I started my own clinic, I was working a second job for years, and I did what I
Wow.
had to do until I could do what I wanted to do.
Wanted to
I had
do.
I had a second job, I had a home-based business, and so, you know, doing those things is sometimes important, and that sometimes allows you to keep making progress towards what you really want. It's not overnight.
Right.
Would you say that they build your stamina, they build a lot of things in you that those struggles, those times when you had to work
Yeah,
twice as hard, that builds character, that
it
builds
does.
resilience,
Mhm.
and it pays off, when it flips and you're able to, like you said, have
Absolutely.
work-life balance and have a really good
A
uh
and
balance.
and that you didn't compromise. That's
Yes.
the other thing, because a lot of people compromise, even though it's like, "Okay, this isn't really what I want," but, you know,
Yeah.
it's
And,
hard.
and now I counsel people that you really keep following your dreams. You might have to do
Yes.
some other things along the way, but keep making progress towards it, and it'll
Mhm.
eventually happen. And don't compromise because you're gonna find your joy when you don't. You really are.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
When you don't
Yeah.
compromise, that's
absolutely.
right. That's
And
the
Yeah.
only
and one
way
of
you're
the
gonna
things
get there.
Go
Yeah.
ahead, I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, I was just gonna say that I was I believe in doing whatever you do with excellence. And
Yes.
so while I was starting off as a doctor, I am a licensed chiropractor, okay? But I'm not walking around like, oh, I'm better than this and I'm better than that. I was working in catering at the baseball
Mm.
stadium for 20 plus years. I did it for 2 decades.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And when I was working as a suite attendant, I was the best suite attendant there was. And then I
That's
went
right.
home and went to bed and got up and put on my doctor's coat and went to the office, and I was the best
Wow.
doctor there was. And that's okay. And people think that they're beneath, doing what it takes. But
Thank
you learn a lot.
thank
You
you for
learn.
sharing that. I think that humility and yet integrity and
Yes,
uh,
Yes. Yes.
the balance of that. I'm just doing what I need to do. And you
Mhm.
know what? That's what we all need to do.
yeah.
What we need to do. We're not, we don't need to elevate ourselves. We don't need to put ourselves down.
There was one thing that I thought about just thinking about, that time period, because I was looking at something on the internet a couple weeks ago, and they were talking about, the way that you treat people, um, that that may not be at the same level as you. For instance, the way you treat, servers, and the way you treat housekeeping, and just how you handle yourself
The
out in public,
grocery
whether
clerk.
you litter or how you arrange your
Yes.
table in restaurants. And one of the things that it said that just really, really struck a nerve in me, it says, and every time I think about it, it makes me want to cry, but it says, if you've done the work, you see the work. And I think that all of those experiences make us better people
Oh, they do.
and
Absolutely.
make
They
us just be able
absolutely
to reach
yes.
a broader population of people. And
Yes.
I 100% agree. Yeah.
100.
Yeah.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
Yeah.
Is that what they
yeah,
say?
Yes.
Walk a mile in my
This
shoes.
this I just wanted to share this to piggyback on what you just said about uh someone said to me and it stuck with me, always leave the place or person or situation better than you found it.
yes,
Mhm.
And that, like I said, has stuck with me. So if I borrow something from somebody, I want to return it better than I
yes,
received it, if that's
Mhm.
possible.
Yes.
Especially if I damaged it, I'm going to buy them a new one.
no, I
I
agree
mean,
with that 100%.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
borrow the car, you're going to bring it back clean and full.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah,
Yeah, don't bring it back
whatever.
on enough, as my dad used to say.
exactly.
So yeah. So I got a question for you. When it comes to, I think of chiropractic and naturopath. I've only gone to those kinds of doctors since the '90s. That was because I've always been holistic minded, and I wanted to get well. I wanted,
Mhm.
and I did not want to be on any medications. I just wasn't going to take a medication. We're going to have to find another way to do this. And so
Mhm.
I
Right.
was introduced to the naturopath, who was also a chiropractor. And when my daughter was in college and came down with the, I didn't know what she had. I just know she just know she was sick. She didn't feel good, and she wanted me to come
Mhm.
and get her. And I took her to my naturopath, and he diagnosed her with having uh, walking pneumonia,
Oh, wow.
and he gave her a remedy. Or he gave it, and we did it. And within 3 days, she was ready to get
Yes.
back into school. And so, so to ask, I wanted to ask you, um, what is your, what do you tell people when they tell you about their illnesses? Now they don't, and before they know you're a doctor, or if they're coming to you with illnesses,
Mhm.
especially if they come into you as a chiropractor and they're talking about the flu, or
Mhm.
whatever,
Okay, well, basically, I let them know that we need to assess them and find out what the underlying stressors are on the body. For whatever
Mm.
is going on with them, if there's 10 people with that condition, there can literally be 10 different causes. And
Yes.
I always make sure they understand that the body heals itself. We have this innate intelligence within us, the power that made the body heals the body, and it needs no help, just no interference. So we need to find out what's
Amen.
interfering. And so there's
Mhm.
a lot of different ways to do that. And I look at top 5 interferences, which are, I'm going to count them on my fingers, but I look at heavy metal toxicity, chemical toxicity, food sensitivities and allergies. Scars can be a big issue that people don't realize, and then immune challenges. That can be anything from virus, bacteria, parasite, anything like that, mold. And so
Wow.
I look to see what the stressors are on the body so that we can remove the stressors, we can help the body detoxify those, and then we can give the genuine replacement parts, which are nutrition. Whole food nutrients, that's always where I start. And then I add homeopathy to that because homeopathy is vibrational or energetic informational medicine. And so it gives the body a nudge in the right direction. It gives the body like some information so that it knows what to do with the actual raw materials, which are the nutrients. And the body heals. And it's amazing. And it happens really quickly, relatively speaking, when you do those things.
Isn't she brilliant? I
Yes,
mean, brilliant.
yes, yes,
You
absolutely.
don't
And
hear
you know
doctors
and
talking
the
like
number
that.
one thing that I give to people, and the very first thing I give to people is hope. Because
Yes.
they've been beat down so much by the allopathic medical system, and there really isn't a lack of hope, there's always an installation of fear. And so the first thing I
Mm,
Absolutely.
wanna do is
mm,
take that away, give them hope, and then the rest is easy. It really is.
mm, mm.
Yeah. If you
Now
give them the hope, you have their attention too,
Yeah,
because they
yeah.
are like, okay,
And,
you should.
it's funny because when people come in for their first initial consultation, we haven't even done anything yet, and they always leave saying, "I feel so much better already." And
Yeah,
that's what
it's
it
like
is.
that's what you said. You give them hope, and
Yeah.
and they're not. You didn't say the same thing that they've been hearing and hearing and
Yeah.
hearing, and you didn't write them a prescription for
Yeah,
any
here,
drugs,
take
for any
this.
drugs,
Take
the
this and
fake
And
see
stuff.
me
so
in
much
2
of it
weeks.
Yeah.
honestly, so much of it is just really sitting back and thinking, "Does this make sense?" Like, does it make
Mm,
sense that you're sick because you don't have this particular lab-created chemical in your body? You know?
I love that. I love that. I love that way of communicating it to them.
mm.
What people should know about proactive health maintenance versus waiting until symptoms appear. What should people know?
Oh, that's my favorite topic. My
Yeah.
favorite topic. It is impossible, you can quote me on this, it is impossible to be healthy in today's world if you are not proactive. We are being
Oh,
bombarded on
hallelujah. Say
every
that
side.
Say it
again.
I
again.
know, right?
Yeah.
We gotta shout. No, but we're being bombarded on every side from every possible kind of toxin. The chemicals and the EMFs, the Wi-Fi, the 5G, it's all coming at us all the time. The air, the water, the unless you are being proactive to help your body deal with these stressors, you just cannot be healthy. And so I help
Mm,
people to realize areas in their life where they can make simple changes. You know, it's not all it's not all or nothing. It's not everything overnight. It's small changes on a gradient to where every step that you make in the right direction is a step in the right direction and it's going to get you
right,
better choices for
right,
better health. And so
right.
it's those things and it's a lot of education. So a big part of what I do is educate. I talk a lot. My visits are long. My visits are too long because I want to really make sure people understand their role in their healing
But
and
you
what
say
they
you're
can do.
sorry, go ahead.
No, I was
No,
gonna get
Go
to say,
ahead.
I think we're getting ready to say the same thing. You say your visits are too long,
yes,
but I feel like half the time the doctors don't even touch you. They may,
true,
I had a doctor stand in the doorway and talk to me.
And
true.
And
all of about 5 minutes.
That's
and I'm like,
outrageous.
and you want to charge me? You didn't touch
Uh,
me, you didn't look at
And
me, you didn't do anything to
and they
me.
probably charged you 5 times what I charged to spend an hour with you.
Yeah,
But I've
and
resolved myself to be okay with that because it is what it is, and operate under a different principle.
My question was going to be, what is the success rate of your patients getting well,
yeah.
being healthy, which I know is high. If they
If
do
they're
what you
willing
say, it's
if they
100%.
do the yeah, if they do the work, I really wanna say it's 100%.
Exactly. That's right.
But I
That's
can tell you,
exactly
I can
right.
give you an example about COVID if you wanna hear that.
Yeah, oh,
Okay.
yes, please.
So I work a lot within my church community, and my it's a long, funny story, but I live in Atlanta, Georgia, and my church is in Dallas, Texas, so it's not, I'm not actually right there. But I do work with some people remotely, and then other people, they just follow me so they get the education that I provide online,
Right.
etcetera. So, when COVID started raging during, 2020, My pastor got out there right away and talked about, we're going to have faith. We're not going to let this fear take us down. And he just spoke the truth. And I got before the congregation and I spoke the truth. And I said, we need to optimize our immune function. We need to make sure our vitamin D levels are up. I've got this exposure protection pack. And so I got everybody using those products. And in our church family at the time, it actually grew by leaps and bounds during that time because they didn't cower
Wow.
in fear. They continued to meet and everything,
Yes.
but they were meeting. They weren't social distancing. They weren't masking. It was about 500, 600 people that would meet, each week. Now I think it's
Yes.
about 900. But yeah, so they did not close. When the county came by and was like, "You cannot do this. You have to shut down." They were like, "Okay, well, we'll go out in the parking lot and get in the cars." So everybody would drive up and they brought all the speakers out and they would have service in the parking lot. And my church is big on music. So they made so much noise with the music that the county came back by and was like, "Just
It's
go back
good.
in,
It's
just
Just
go
going
back in."
inside.
So there were
And
only a couple weeks.
nobody got sick or died with
No,
COVID, right?
no. So
That's
there was only a couple weeks that they were in the parking lot, but the moral of the story is that during this time, nobody was hospitalized and nobody died. And to this day, nobody passed away
yeah.
during that time. Not one. Not one. And I know that
Yes.
so many people
Yes.
do not have that testimony. I'll never take it for granted. It was all God. But we just we heard the message. We had the tools. We did what we needed to do to support our bodies, and it was okay.
What a
That
testimony.
is a
What a
Yeah.
great, that is a
testimony to
great
faith
story.
and using your knowledge.
Yes.
Yes.
You
Yes.
got to do both. You did the faith without works is dead.
It's
Right.
dead.
So
Right.
they
And
did it both together.
we already knew from just the flu that optimizing your vitamin D levels was huge, huge.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the
Mm.
reasons why, the Black populations have so much more mortality with different things is because we tend to be notoriously low in vitamin D. And so we
Yeah.
were already
Mm.
optimized, and that was a big piece of it. That was a huge, huge piece of it.
So now,
Beautiful.
okay, 101, vitamin D. What is so important about vitamin D in our body? I don't
Specifically
want
for
to make
African
the,
Americans.
One of
yes,
my
I don't want
favorite
to make the
nutrients to talk about.
assumption that
Okay.
everybody knows.
So vitamin D, while it is a vitamin, they're actually now saying that it's a hormone because it has so many
Mm.
actions in the body. The reason
Mm-hmm.
why it's so important is because, well, first let me tell you about the reference range. The range of vitamin D is huge. Okay, it's huge. It goes from 30 all the way up to 100. So it's a big range with a lot of wiggle room. If you're at a 35, your MD might say, "Oh, you're fine." The optimal part of that is at the higher end of that range. So you want those higher numbers, 60, 70, 80. Most people that are not doing anything about it come in the teens. I've seen tens, I've seen single digits. The reason why it's so important is because it activates your immune cells. Your immune system has to have it activated to be able to fight the viruses. And it's known to fight the upper respiratory, all of the flus and all of that kind of stuff. So it's very important. It is also extremely protective against cancers, particularly a
Mm.
lot of the cancers that are the most aggressive ones, the colon cancer, the breast cancer, things like that. The Vitamin D
Wow.
Council has a ton of information where you can go and see all the things that it does, but you
What
need
did
it
you
for
say?
your
The vitamin D
Vitamin
bones.
D
what?
Council.
Vitamin D
Council.
We'll
Council.
put that in the
Yep.
Okay.
description. Mhm.
You need it for your bones, you need it for your brain health. Seasonal affective disorder is a big thing where people that live in areas where I came from, like Buffalo, the Northeast, that get a lot of the snowy, cloudy days, have
Mm-hmm.
low vitamin D, and then they get like a depression in the wintertime. And so
Yeah.
it is just, I saw an article one time that was talking about, you hear so many veterans commit suicide a day. It
Yes.
used to be
Yes.
22. I don't know if that's still accurate, but they were saying
Wow.
that a lot of lives could be saved just by optimizing vitamin D
Vitamin
because
D.
it's so
Wow.
closely related to mental health.
Wow.
So,
Mm.
yeah, and you
Mm.
need, it's made in the skin. And a lot of people say, "Oh, well, I'll just go outside in the sun." Well, you need to be outside almost fully exposed for several, minutes a day
And you're
during
exposing
certain
yourself to
hours.
skin cancer,
So we're
right?
just not, yeah, it's just not happening. It's not happening. And when you have melanin, it's even harder for you to make it. So we just need to make sure we support it because it responds so well to good supplementation.
And good
Good
supplementation.
Good, that's
supplementation.
the key. You know, there's always a key
Good,
word.
Yeah.
good
And if
supplementation.
you want to know
Good,
about good supplementation, you reach out to us,
Yes,
to
good,
Dr.
yes,
Ridgeway, to myself.
to
yes.
Rich.
Because it does matter. There is a difference. You know, a lot of the supplements that are out there, the reason why people think they don't work is because they don't work
Don't
because
work.
they're made
Yeah,
in a lab. They're synthetic.
Yep. Yep.
That's not what I use. That's not what, Kimberly uses. So, yeah, we make sure we get
That we
ours
got
from
the
whole
good
food, from
stuff.
nature, the way
nature.
God gave
Yeah,
it to us.
yes,
Yes.
yes,
Yes.
Mhm.
yes.
People who respect that. That is really something that we want to expand, and that is the awareness of how to respect nature and what God made, whether
Yeah.
it's a plant or a person,
Yes,
you know,
yes.
what
That was one of the things I was blessed from the beginning that I always worked with doctors who used whole food supplements. And so I
Mhm.
had a very good background in whole food supplementation. I was able to see the difference in how you could take this one nutrient and it could make such a difference because with whole foods, you have all the cofactors the way they come in nature. So your body doesn't have to try to rob Peter to pay Paul to put it all together to be able to use it.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
Awesome,
So true.
awesome.
So true. So,
I'm gonna go back and ask the question about understanding chiropractic care. And what is it that most people misunderstand about it? Because when they
Oh,
say,
that's
"Oh,
such a
no."
good question.
Yeah.
Such a good question. Well, most people think that chiropractic care is simply about back pain, neck pain, auto accidents. That couldn't
Mhm.
be further from the truth. Chiropractic care is about function of the body. So
mm,
you have your brain, which is, one of the big communication centers of the body, and it sends the communication down through the spinal cord and then out into nerves throughout the body. But it all has to come down through, through your neck and down into your body. And so, for instance, the nerves in your fingertips start in your neck, the nerves in your toes start in your low back, okay? If you have anything going on where the bones in your spine are slightly misaligned, it may not cause pain. Only about 10% of the fibers actually cause pain. But if you have a little slight misalignment, it can cause dysfunction in those nerves and it can cause the communications from your brain, the master controller of everything, to not be able to get through properly. And so that's why it's
Mhm.
so important to get regularly checked and adjusted to make sure you don't have any impingements so that your body can express its optimal wellness. And it's just as simple as that, and any little thing we think about, people think about auto accidents or some major trauma. Well, it doesn't have to be a major trauma. Sometimes, you miss a stair and your heel kinda lands on the ground, or you're in the car and somebody almost cuts you off and you jump. Just doing that, those muscles can grab and take something out of place. So it's important to be checked
Hmm.
regularly and just make sure your function and everything is flowing properly.
you said that that gosh, trying to hang on to that thought. You said, oh, that it may not be pain. You may not feel pain, but something has happened. What are some of the things that can happen that if they go unchecked can cause problems?
Okay, well, there's every single spinal level coming down, from the brain all the way down, goes to all your different organs. So you can be having a digestive issue or
Mm.
an issue with fertility or an issue with your heart or an issue with your thyroid, and it can be coming from the lack of the proper nerve innervation from your back. So it can be
Wow.
anything, literally anything in the body.
Wow.
And this is why people, as a matter of fact, if we go all the way back to the very first chiropractic patient, he was actually deaf in one ear. And when he was adjusted, his hearing came back. That's how
Oh.
chiropractic got started. So it can
Wow.
really be anything, because everything needs the information to make it function.
I remember going to a chiropractor back in the 80s, and I went there at a advice of a friend because I was in an accident. And while I was waiting in the waiting room, a patient came up and she said that she was there because they ask you, why are you here? She said she was because she had the flu. So when I got in there, I was coming down with a cold, and I said, If I told you I had a cold, what would you do differently? What would you do? And he said, just work more on this upper part of the neck here.
Mhm,
And that cold went away. I had no cold. I
mhm.
never had it. It didn't, it was coming on, which normally it would have brought on the symptoms, but it went away. And from that
Because
point
of
on,
that
I started really believing in
yeah,
chiropractic.
because of that, back in the day, there was really a huge separation between chiropractors. We had some chiropractors that were called straights that only adjust, nothing else. Then there's the mixers, which is clearly me, that does the adjusting and the nutrition and the supplements. But their premise was that once you remove that nerve interference, the body can heal. The problem with that is the world we live in. The,
Yes.
the
You
toxins
got to do the
rapidly
supplementation.
intensified so much that our bodies need a little bit more support to be able to overcome,
Mhm.
and rebuild.
Yeah, they certainly do. Certainly. Well, I, I-
Go ahead.
yeah, what would you like our audience to know? I mean, just something that we haven't asked you that you want to make sure that they know.
Well, I just think it's important to know that you really have to be proactive about your health. Um, you can get along for a long time until the moment that you can't, and you don't know.
You don't
A
know.
lot of things are silent in the background. When it comes to our number one killer, cardiovascular disease, sometimes the first
Mm,
symptom is sudden death. Honestly,
wow,
that's a thing.
Yeah.
Massive
that's
heart
true.
attack is sometimes the first symptom. And so, I think it's a great idea that you work with somebody who's doing functional blood labs, who can kind of catch things early. Because when you go to your doctor every year and you get your physical, oftentimes they'll tell you all your labs are normal. That's something that people
Yes.
are often told.
Yes.
Yes,
But when they
and then
show
you're
me
fine.
all their labs that they got done, it's literally like 2 or 3 things. Number 1, the testing wasn't broad enough to really find, do you have, metabolic dysfunction? Are you leading down the road to diabetes? Do you have inflammation that can be causing all of these other things that you have going on? So we need to get a broader look, and we need to look at it from a bigger perspective. Like when I was talking about vitamin D with that huge range, you have to know, okay, this might still be technically normal, but it's not optimized. Like it's not my best. I'm not giving
Mhm.
myself my best chance of, of good health. So, um, functional blood labs are wonderful. And then bioenergetic testing, I love some of the things that I do. I do a scan called Zytoscan. I do a scan called the AO scan. Those test the body energetically because a lot of times energy will shift before it shows up physically, and we can get an
Mm,
early handle on things.
that's
But outside
beautiful.
of all of that, doing the things that you know to do. You're not supposed to be eating sugar all day, every day. You know, getting off
Yeah,
of sugar is one of the number one things you can do for your health. Sugar
number one
is enemy
things.
number one of good health. It
Mm,
just is.
it
You
is,
know,
and I'm gonna be launching a sugar free challenge.
very good, because that
Yeah.
makes
Yeah.
such a difference for your
Yeah.
immune function and inflammation in your body, pain and things like that. Sugar. And then another thing that I always want people to understand is that you've got to take care of your nervous system. Um, Lay down, put your legs up. You will be amazed at how restorative that is. Just laying down,
Wow.
putting your legs up on an ottoman or even putting them up the wall for 15, 20 minutes
Mm,
completely relaxes your body and puts it in a healing restorative state.
I
So if you
love
do
that.
that once a day, but if you can't do it once a day, at least if you do it 3, 4 times a week, you'll feel so much better and your body will function better. All your
Mhm.
glands
Mm,
will function better. Um, and drinking your water. We have to be hydrated. It's just simple things, but it's making simple things, starting to clean up, your environment, really thinking about what you're putting in your body, what you're putting on your body, and turning those over to natural things. And that it will start to make such a huge difference.
One last question before we close. Some of the tests that you talked about, they don't do. Most of the doctors don't do. But if you find out about it and you request it, are they required to do it?
Unfortunately not. So the thing about it is insurance companies are only going to pay for a few cursory tests, mainly the ones that are linked to something that can be prescribed. So
That's what I was
typically,
gonna
if you
say.
go
I'm glad you said it. I was gonna say
yeah, if
that.
you go in
That's
for
it.
your annual physical, they're gonna do a CBC, a metabolic panel. That's just your basic blood work. They're gonna do a lipid panel because they wanna put you on a statin. They're
That's
gonna
it.
take your
That's
blood pressure because
sad.
they wanna put you on blood pressure medicine. And now they're starting to do the A1C more, but for a while they weren't even doing an A1C, which gives you your risk of diabetes. It'll let you know if you're pre-diabetic. But that's it. But there's so many more things that we can see. And you can request it, but a lot of times they won't cover it. They'll tell you the insurance doesn't cover it. So
I want to say something about that. So, people, we've got to take our health into be responsible for it. And so the insurance companies, the medical, they just want to get really, they're testing to see if they can get you on the medication.
that's it.
We're responsible for our health. We need to pay the whatever it is. It's just $350. It's worthwhile.
It's
Whatever. I
so
mean,
worth it.
whatever it is, to find out what we actually need and then get the whole food
Yes.
supplement, which is the only reason you need the supplement is because we can't eat enough food to get all the
Right.
nutrients that
That's
we
it.
need. And the soil is depleted, so it's just not
Right.
in there. It's not in there. And so,
Right.
we do the best we can, but this is essential. We gotta get
You are
our
preaching, you preaching. And when people
Yeah.
ask me, "Well, do I have to be on supplements for the rest of my life?" You don't have to. I'm going to.
But here's
I
the other
promise you
thing
I'm
though.
going to
But here's
because
the
I
other
want to age
thing.
well.
Yeah. But
exactly.
the other thing is that when they put you on that medication, they tell you it's for a lifetime.
Exactly.
So what's the difference?
And one
Exactly.
medication is going to lead to another, to another, to
Another
Yes,
one
another.
and
Trust
because
another
me.
they
That's
one.
because
Oh
they
my gosh.
if you've been on
sometimes
it,
they
you
don't
know.
interact well together.
Yeah, and they cause
Most of the
problems.
time. Right.
Take us
Yes,
down the
yes.
road to more
More
medication, which
medication.
And
I
the
Yeah,
wasn't going
medicine
to
never
do.
healed anything. It never healed
exactly.
anything.
You
No,
know,
it controlled. Is that the word they use? Controlled.
Managed, yeah. They
Or
managed.
manage or
And
control.
then it
Yes.
leads you down the road to another one, like she said, and it's just a mess. It's a mess.
Yeah.
from a little girl, I knew this, and
Yeah.
I never wanted when I used to exacerbate the doctors and my parents because I don't want to take a pill or a medicine. I
Mhm.
want to know what's causing the problem.
That's
I
so
was only
good.
8.
So
But that
good.
but that
So
was
good.
that was
Yeah.
my mentality.
That
And
is
it's
awesome that
never
you had that
changed.
mentality. That is awesome. You started
We
early.
just
Well,
have to
it
we have to re-educate people to know that there's
Yes.
natural solutions and there's easy natural solutions. Like there's things they can reach
yeah,
for
easy.
instead of a pill, instead of a even the over the counter stuff. We've got natural solutions for that. And
Yeah.
so it's just over time changing over your medicine cabinet to a natural one.
Yes.
Yes, yes,
Yes.
yes. Well,
Yes.
it has been a pleasure. It has been
Definitely a
enlightening
pleasure.
and
Definitely.
just, really a treat. Like this
Yes.
is dessert.
Yeah. Yes.
Well, actually,
Well,
the dessert is everything else, but the knowledge that's a
mhm.
7-course meal.
Yes.
We
Yes.
had a
And
7-course meal here.
I always have to play the individual, and sometimes I don't play the part, but I play the individual of, I didn't know about that. Explain that more. Give it to me in 101 terms,
Mhm.
because there's a lot of people out there who've never heard about this, but they will not, or they don't know the questions to ask. And
Right.
so that's why I like to ask a lot of questions,
I love your questions
and working with you
just for that
guys,
reason.
now call to action. What's the call to action?
What's the call to action, Kim?
Call to action is get your blood work.
Yes.
I don't know what that's going on. Get it and then take it to a holistic, a naturopathic, a chiropractor who's also a naturopath or who also does nutrition, because that's the whole picture. And
Yeah.
if you want,
It's game changer.
It's a
It
game
really is.
changer.
and Dr. Ridgeway, she does she does
Telehealth.
yeah, she does
You,
distance
yes, we can talk to
work.
her on Zoom like we're doing today
Yeah. So
with the podcast.
so
Yes.
thank you so much for
Oh, you've
joining
been
Oh,
us
it's
so
been my
and
enlightening.
pleasure. It's been my
enlightening our
pleasure. I could
people.
go on all day about these things. I just love it.
And all the information about how to get in contact with her, how to get on her with her Thursday.
Thriving Thursday. So on Instagram, I think what's your handle?
It's Dr. JeNeen Ridgeway. That's it.
Okay,
There
Yeah,
it
yeah,
is.
just
Dr. JeNeen
DR
Ridgeway.
and
And
then
I
my
was
name.
once,
So all of that will be in the description. And I'm
but just in case. Oh,
imploring you to find out. At least don't be an ostrich with your head in the sand. Take your head up, do some investigation, and find out what you need to do to take care of your body.
and I'm going to say this. If you are suffering from anything, oops, what happened? If you're suffering from anything, listen to this, the whole thing. And so if you're just catching this on a short, go to the YouTube, watch the whole episode, and get yourself a good doctor
And reach
like
out to
Dr. Ridgeway.
Yeah, reach out to Dr. Ridgeway.
And get yourself healed. You can go from struggling, from pain, from whatever is going on, to thriving. That's a possibility. It is. That's what we
And
want
that's
you
what
to
we
know.
want. And that's what we want.
Yeah, that's what we want for
Amen.
you.
So thank you for tuning in to the Debbie and Kim show.
And remember, you are perfect for your purpose for being here now.
And
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment.
because
We
we
love
love
hearing
hearing
from
from
you.
you. So thank you so much. Until next time.